My bad. Draymond. I was like, no, what the heck happened?
Hey,
Oh, there
back
we go.
on. There
There
you
you go.
go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So,
No
so you was
worries.
talking about the collective conscious club.
Yeah. So with the collective consciousness, like I mentioned prior, I don't know to what stage that we get disconnected. But I was speaking on that it was founded on January 14, 2020. And you asked me if I'm the sole founder. I am. But I also, as I also mentioned, through creating it, the foundation was built with amazing people, honestly. The collective consciousness would not be the collective consciousness if it didn't have the proper foundation. And many of those, like, for example, those who are tuning in, Tony, Heather, Ashley, those are part of those who have been the strong foundation of the collective consciousness, and especially with the Amen Ra movement of it now turned into bring all our babies home.
Okay. What was your experience before that? Before that particular club, like what were you doing, or what were kind of the things that you was gravitating to? Because you're an Ace of Hearts. I know for Ace of Hearts, it's like you have double threes. You have a three of hearts supporting
Yeah.
you. So you can gravitate to a lot of different things, especially about being like socially aware, social consciousness. Dealing with just people, just in general, very sympathetic, just naturally. So, what were like? Who were you in high school? What were you doing, kind of like in high school, or what did you kind of see yourself demonstrating these particular things before you created this group, or how did you grow into this?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you so much for that, Rashad. And to answer it, yes, I've kind of always been this individual. I've always been kind of a hermit individual, always self-growing and self-learning, and always taking accountabilities for my actions. And
Mm-hmm.
through that development of behavior and discipline, I was able to continue to pour in myself within my adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And through that self-recognition and awareness of self, that helped me and allowed me by the time I was coming out in a way towards society and towards people to be able to resonate with them in a deeper level, in a way that they can feel that they're not alone. And people think that a lot that we go through individually is something that we're just going through, when in reality is we're all as a collective going through it, just in different
Mm-hmm.
versions. So
Oh yeah.
in high school, well, I was always that kind of loner who knew everybody, very social lit, but at the same time didn't have like that immediate circle to say every day after school. I would just in school I would just be myself, individual.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go home, and school and home would never be the same. It's not the place to like interact the
Mm-hmm.
same.
No.
So yeah, so when it came to high school, plus I went to like 15 different schools throughout my whole life. So learning to adapt internationally and state by state, I had to learn to adapt, and it was always about learning how to let go in my life path. For example, from the age of 1 to 8, I was born here, and then transferred all the way to Ecuador and migrated south to the Americas, learned a whole bunch. And then by the time I was 13 to my teen years, now I'm here, and it's a whole different type of energy and field in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So and then different high schools, New York, from New York to Jersey, from there back to New York and back and forth. So yeah, there was a lot of learning how to never attach to things. So that was also helped my journey of health and wellness, which that actually in 2020, the program Health to Wealth, Raw Reality was developed. And through that, it was a 21-day journey every new moon that was set, and helping individuals. From there became a free journey, because I think everyone deserves to at least have a chance to give themselves for free an opportunity to reset your life and your body, and a body, mind, and soul transformation like that one. I feel like everyone should have it. And that's part of my philanthropy
Wow.
side.
Wow, that's dope. So you were speaking about like social responsibility and learning to be detached from people, you know. And you're Ace of Hearts, and so that can lead, or a lot of people just from the cards, when they research these cards, they see like keywords like selfishness, you know, entrepreneurialism, traveling, money, are some of the keywords that you may see. Creativity, I wouldn't say detached, but more of attached to social groups, or can be attached to social groups in some type of manner, because you're sitting Uranus, Jupiter, so you're expanding the collective's consciousness, right? So it's an expansion of morals, laws, you know, being aware of oneself and also being aware of others, you know. And like I was saying earlier, making you very sympathetic and empathetic about people, you know, and very caring just naturally in nature. So with you moving around from different schools, different high schools, hey, from different schools to different high schools, and learning to detach yourself, was that kind of hard? Because I know with the Ace of Hearts, when I go through Ace of Hearts era or moment, I can feel, or I've actually witnessed it on both sides. So for first, it was like really me listening and understanding what the Ace of Hearts was for me, and then witnessing someone else have the Ace of Hearts. It left them in moments where they felt very lonely, somewhat isolated, and needing attention. You know, wanting people to kind of be there for them. So anyone that may have an Ace of Hearts, if you have it through your spread, it can be a tough time. You know.
I think it could
Um,
be, and the reason I find that to be true in an aspect, that's when you're not vibrating at your fullest potential.
mhm,
When you're allowing energetic penetration, to say it for lack of
mhm,
word right now, to
mhm,
enter your field, you could start feeling these emotions. And if I had to recognize those, I would say those would be for in my first 9 years of living, and it was
mhm,
mostly due to family more than external peers, because externally, from the at home conditioning that I had, I would not ever really let others externally enter my realm unless I
mhm,
fully was aware that I would like that individual to enter my realm, because I already had
mhm,
enough going on at home to deal with
mhm,
external
mhm,
realities. So, in the lowest of frequency, I could see that happening. Yes.
mhm,
In a mid to high vibration, you're in mid, you are conscious of that behavior, so you work on that behavior. So
mhm,
during my
right,
teen years, that was that consciousness, working on
mhm,
this need to attach to people, and for what?
mhm,
um and anytime you let someone in and they're not vibrating to a degree, and you're just accepting them just to have somebody in your life, it'll be more self-harming than actually fulfilling, to be honest.
wow.
Yeah.
No, most definitely. And I can just from an example, when I went through these particular times and witnessing other people, it can also lead to like self-doubt, insecurities, you know, of trying to find trying to associate yourself with people, you know, trying to
Hmm.
find a family, to find a home, or someone to kind of associate yourself with, you know. So for you, and I can see that can would have been difficult because you're always being displaced or moving to a different area, you know. So finding a solid family and solid foundations and people to connect with could have been troublesome. But you saying that you've seen that in high school, which is very self-aware. So that self-awareness that you had in high school is amazing, because I did not have that at all. You know, I wish I had used my
it,
Ace of Hearts. Mm-hmm.
and honestly, see it as a blessing, because to have that
Yeah,
observation in
most
high school, it has to come from a lot of trauma that you've seen already as a child. Lack of, abandonment, learning that my father wasn't my father. So even for by the
mm-hmm.
age of 6, I had to learn to detach even that. Okay, this man,
Mm-hmm.
from the day I was born, a week old, they said he was my father, and then I had to find out that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So those little building blocks made that connection in my teen years. And would a child rather have, the normal setting, or either a douchebag dad who was actually their dad, or, you know, but it wasn't. So it was like every aspect of my life. I always told my sister, who was a 3 of diamonds, by the way. So you always need
Mm-hmm.
3 of diamonds. Ace of hearts does need a 3 of diamonds in their life. I don't care what no one says.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Then she guided me. Actually, she's my younger sister, and I always give her the credit where it's due. Due to that companionship, having each other to bounce off consciousness, that
Mm-hmm.
help our development in our teen years. Mostly towards her 14 and my 16s, we started becoming more unisons into consciousness. And in our adulthood, is like we had to be an unorthodox family within this unorthodox consciousness in a 3D world, like vibrating and seeing things that other people don't
Mm-hmm.
see. So it would just be a tight knit us two, and then my nephew came along, and it was us three for a while. So yeah.
Wow, that's dope. And the Ace of Hearts is vertically pushing the three of diamonds, five of spades. Just FYI for other people, I may go into another day, but for now. So yeah, most definitely, that's very important. And you sitting Uranus, Jupiter, and me just putting that together, it creates a distant relationships, or it could be traumatic relationships with elders, people that may try to give you wisdom. Could be Jupiter can also represent sometimes like your relatives, father figures, uncles, distant relatives in some type of sense. So there was that natural disconnection there for
Mm-hmm.
you, and so that, but yeah, of course, Shayna, thank you for asking the question. She said, so can vibrating with high with any card in your spread offset the negative aspects of the card? Most definitely, it can, and also depends on how self-aware you are and what type of skill sets or that other people around you, as far as their self-development, have poured into you. And thankfully for you, you had a three of diamonds that was kind of open and able to, and you both kind of related on that Jupiter
Interesting
context.
when you said that about the three of diamonds being open. So internally with me, she was very extroverted. With the world, very introverted.
No, right? No, most
Very
definitely.
introverted. So it's very the three of diamonds introversy. And I have to say my five of hearts actually relates to the three of diamond. Because
Mhm,
they're both considered this very autistic, but when I say autistic, it's very focused. It's a
mhm,
different type of view of the world that other people don't see. Yet we are very conscious, we are very active in the 3D realm. We're not
mhm,
considered autistic, but the way
mhm,
we see things is very autistically. So that's how
mhm,
the three of diamond and the five of hearts kind of come to play there, and
mhm,
kind of it became a very strong bond up to like last year, I have to say. And
mhm,
she got engaged and has a baby now, and that's how
mhm,
that life path transformed, and then that's how this life path came to be as well. So
mhm,
um and to answer her question as well, and I told this, actually I had this conversation when Clubhouse initially began with I don't want to say names, with a room that had Cardology in it,
mhm,
and they were reading me, and they said that, well, you have to do it, go from the ace all the way to the king of spades. And my answer was, in this lifetime I will be the king of spades. Of course
mhm,
that answer upset the person hosting the room. They're like, you can't do that, you have to at least die, you have to relive and reach the king of spades. I'm like, I don't
mhm.
think that's the goal. I think you should do it in this lifetime.
Right.
And I came to do it once, and that's it. I'm just turning into an ancestor. Fuck karma. I'm every time I see a karmic event, I make sure to handle it right there and then. Don't let karma build.
Mhm.
Don't let karma
Oh yeah.
make you or turn you into something or hold you here. If you feel
Mhm,
like this experience and this spirit having a human um experience, it's something that cool, it's wants to have. As an ace of hearts, I'm saying that it's
mhm,
wants to have, it's beautiful, yet it's so limiting at the same time, because there's
mhm,
there's so much in the galaxies and in the astral worlds and out there, that
mhm,
why not enjoy the journey, reach that Christ consciousness here, that self-awareness here, that
mhm,
that king of spades card, the God card, in the good karma aspect, so you can transcend and have this overwhelming energy, because energy doesn't die, and it's passed on
mhm.
to your generation, and you're now building a generational wealth of energy.
Right.
So look at it like that in this lifetime as well.
Right. Right. No, most definitely. And just understanding that can help out so much, because sometimes we do play. I guess you say play victim, and victimizing or playing victim can be related to Neptune, Pisces, and sometimes we don't, or the sixth place or Virgo, because sometimes we don't realize that, or be aware there's outside forces that have an effect on our life that we cannot see, you know, some things that we're not privy to. So there must be a sense of understanding, because if you don't have a sense of understanding, you become victim to the situations and become helpless almost, right?
And that's what I mean. Oh, go ahead.
No,
And
go ahead.
that's what I meant about vibrating at a frequency where all this is allowed. At the end of the day, having self accountability, like when all these energies are at work, the only reason they are affecting us is because we did not do the work to like build strength against it. It's like a muscle. It's like muscle. If you go into a fight and you're not training, you're gonna get you're
gonna beat up.
Gonna milli rock you like clack, 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 right? But if you're a person who trains and you're doing the work, you're gonna feel the impact. Don't get me wrong, because in any fight you could be the strongest of beings, and when you get boom 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 and you win the fight, you still see the victory, and after boxing you're like meaning, but they won because they trained. They trained and made themselves strong to endure it. So when you're going through these phases, analyzing like, okay, what am I continuously allowing? What am I continuously allowing in my realm that I haven't worked on? If it's allowing people, if you have to work on a no, work on that no. Because just because you don't want to tell no to that person, and maybe that no means that they're going to see that you're not meant to be walked all over, helps you not create that karma of feeling like you've just been used. Use that no. And that's how you start fortifying your shield of knowing, well, this person is not, even if nobody met you and you're the person who always says yes, guess what? That's a vibration. That's an energy. Somebody's going to be like, yeah, I could go to that person. You'd be like, why do I have it on my forehead? In a way you do. You know?
Right, yeah.
But if you start working on that no and training, and then people are going to see that aura and energy on you, that this is not the person to just take lightly, and if she gives me a yes, it's because I earned that yes, or he earned that yes, and etc. You know, just to say.
Wow, yes, most definitely, and that's the cards. You know, that's knowing your planets, knowing your energy. I'm a Pisces moon, so I definitely know. Someone will talk about the Pisces moon. So no, I've definitely been there, seen it for myself, and working on myself, and that's the reason I gravitated to the cards and gravitated to spirituality, because I seen these particular things getting played over and over, and I started to become a victim of my path and of the power I was letting go to other people. You know, of not recognizing your power, like you said, it was like something's written over your forehead of this particular power or thing that you have, and people like take advantage of it or use it, you know, and you have no control of it, you know, and you just become a puppet or anything else for other people. So so yeah, most definitely that self-awareness, and again, this is the Ace of Hearts, so this is the beginning and opening up into those realms of spirituality and self-love and self-care and all the things that we need to be kind of aware of, you know. So I appreciate you talking and speaking, because it's very reflective of who you are and what you came to do, you know, because it's universal consciousness, as I was saying earlier, with that Jupiter and that Uranus aspect, you know. So thank you. So for the Ace of Hearts overall, so the mission that you went through from younger life and growing up and going to through your 20s, you know, how was that between as far as your growth and development? Because right now I'm recognizing and seeing like that Five of Hearts is very prominent for you. You know, that is considered like the gypsy, you know, and also the healer of the world. So going out and helping people, even raising people into consciousness, or raising people, or bringing self-awareness to people, and making them recognize the things they need to bring value to, you know, because the Five of Hearts is pushed by the Queen of Diamonds, so that is everything that's luxurious, valuable, extravagant. You know, being self-aware and having a sense of values and purpose. You know, so for you, you resonated with that Five of Hearts. It led you to kind of open up and kind of expand and to learn people, not just yourself, but also recognizing other people and learning other people. And so you can gain a bit of self-awareness for yourself as well, you know. So that can also go. Did you have any pets? Just a random question. Did you have like
No.
any pets when you was
No,
or
so
animals? Okay.
growing up, my mom was allergic to pets. Then
Oh,
recently she
okay.
got a dog, so that's how allergic she was to pets. So no pets. And then
Mm,
the one time I was allowed to get a pet, not even it was in Ecuador. Like I said, I lived in Ecuador for
mm,
a while, and after school they'll have these people who sell like little chicks.
mm.
And I didn't know that the little chick that I bought for 25 cents was kind of sick and ended up passing away that
Um,
same night. I came home and I was like, I'm not doing this. This is heartbreaking to like have something and want to love
oh.
it and it's not there. and
Um,
then and then we had this and then my mom's boyfriend had this turtle, brought this turtle home actually, and then he thought it was a land turtle. We had it outside and ended up being a water turtle. So
oh
that was
my
just
God.
signs.
That was
Those are
like,
just signs.
no, this isn't for me.
Pets, I'm just like, to be honest, to me the value of pets is it's unmeasurable. Animals have this wild spirit, and to see them contained and see them in diapers kind of upsets me.
Oh my gosh. I said that the other day. I was like, I want a
um
dog, but I don't want a dog. It's like
it is
like
it
I want
I
one myself.
understand it. So I always tell people, when you truly should have a dog, when you after you have children, you
Mhm.
have this backyard in this house that is actually your property. Why? Because after your children get older, adults, from what I noticed, just feel like they don't have nothing to do. Get a dog. My mom did when we worked here. Um, but if you having this sense of still not looking for a companion and you're looking in for a hostage, don't do it. Because that's what that's what half of the people I've seen do is like you're holding these pets hostage, y'all.
And I asked
uh,
because of the Ace of Hearts can be related to, and the Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, and the Nine of Hearts can all be associated with like pets. So
I
that's
could
the
see
reason I
that.
asked.
So
That's
I
the reason
like I
I
said, I
asked real
love
simply.
animals, but
Mhm.
see, I don't, I'm not the animal lover that says I love animals, I'm gonna bring one home. I love and respect animals in their kingdoms, in their natural
Mhm.
habitat. If I go, like when I was in Africa, I was just dying to like explore the safari, to find out in Ghana the safari is just a trail, not one animal. Like what?
Mm.
Okay. Even seeing the different types of animals, I always respect it. Horses, I have a passion for them. I love them.
Mm.
Every time I get a chance to, especially in if anybody goes to Puerto Rico and Vieques, there's wild horses, and you just get a chance to like just be around them and feel their energies. I actually have a video of that one posted where it was all 2020. I was fasting for 42 days, raw fat.
Mm.
I mean, just fasting,
Wow,
no
that's good.
foods, no nothing, and lying coconut water. That's all I did throughout the whole fast. And I was vibrating at such a pure frequency that at one point I'm standing and a bunch of horses just around me and just start like coming up
Mm.
to me. And I can start sensing them. I'm feeling them, and to a point that it feels like I could like telepathically communicate with it.
Mm.
Horse whisperer, let's say. No, same thing with
Mm.
dogs. Anytime I see a dog that is feeling off its essence, I can definitely pick up on it. And this is why I say get out. Don't get me wrong. There are animal dog owners who do love their dogs, and it's beautiful. I'm talking about, and they actually train them, take them out. You're
Mm.
doing a great job. Continue to. I'm talking about those who go to work from dusk to dawn, and then next thing they're
Mm.
coming home, just feeding them and just going to sleep.
And so,
That's
yeah.
practically almost what humans do with their children. We don't see our children. I always say I grew up orphaned
Mm.
because I just really never saw my parents. At one point, they even
Mm.
abandoned us in Ecuador to
Mm.
say a word.
Mm.
To the fact that I felt like I did grow up orphaned my whole life.
Mm.
So when I'm going back to your question about my 20s, that's interesting because that's when power started really arising around my 20s. A lot of confusions was happening. My mom, by the time I was 16, 17, she already started seeing that she could start kicking me out of the house. So I was always with that fear of not having a home from a very young age. And by the time I remember around my 20s, early 20s, I was in the streets with my sister for like a week, no food, nothing. We were very hungry.
And not to interrupt you, that's around the Five of Hearts period, I think, for you as well. But continue.
Okay, that makes sense. And through that time, I do always remember this part. I did break into a house that was one of my relatives' home. That person didn't live there because they were living with their fiance in another house. So that one was practically abandoned. And if I'm in the streets, I don't know what part of this card is it, but if I'm in the streets and there's a home in your family, that's my home too today. I ain't
That's
gonna be
the Five of Hearts.
That's
the Five of Hearts.
Wow, Five of Hearts came out. But yet, since we broke in there, it was only to sleep. We couldn't stay there the whole time so people don't see us. So while we're like out in the street, no food, no nothing. I remember one day, like, damn, I'm hungry. I wish I had $100. I wish I had $100 because I would buy a blunt. You know, you can't be homeless, depressed. You got to be happy. Keep your endorphins up, y'all. Be real. And for food. And that same day when we go back into the house, you know, there's by in front of the door, there's an envelope. And when I open the envelope, me and my sister are next to each other. There's a check with my name on it, on that envelope. A check with $100 to cash with my government name. And here's the thing about my government name. I didn't even know my government name until I was 9 because I've always used the name that either my family knows me by or my peers know me by. JD is family and then J Morris peers. But never through my real government was just never used throughout my life. Never. Even in school, they call me JD. My teachers, they won't even respect that. And to see this check with my full government name, I was like, what kind of magic is this? Like, what the hell kind of source?
Five of Hearts magic. Yeah, right.
And then, so that $100 only lasted so long, you know. Got some Reggies that week. Not even good, but we gotta make it last, you know. Say
right.
You gotta be real with your manifestation.
Back in the day, everybody was on Reggie. If you didn't grow up, you wasn't gonna smoke it.
If you didn't grow up Reggies, if you didn't smoke Reggies in New York, you're really not a New Yorker. That's all I gotta say. And I told you since we were in the streets, I was panhandling at the time, and I told my sister, like, I'm gonna be panhandling. You will not have to do the, you know, things that we're not gonna do is sell our ass and do something strange for change. But I will panhandle, and I'll be the only one panhandling. So I will be there. And there was a lady who saw us, my sister and I, all the day on the 2 line, and she would ask us, like, why are you guys here? And we told her our history, and she gave us some money. And then the next day she saw us again, and then she told us about emergency food stamps in New York. And about that time, I had just turned 19 because she asked me, 20, because she asked me, are you over 18? If I look young now, especially when I was actually like in my teens, it was like 12.
Right.
And she was like, are any of you 18? Do you know an 18-year-old? I was like, I'm 18. She's like, oh, okay, that's great. In New York, you get emergency food stamps and emergency cash. And mind you, I have never applied ever. So she gives us a Metro card. She puts us in, and she tells us exactly how to get there on East 43rd Tremont, right there. And we went in, and as I'm applying, I go in, and the lady says, Miss yada yada, you have $1,000 in food stamps backed up. Same reaction.
What?
Me and my sister look at each other like, all right, I just get my thing. We walk out. We're like, and in the elevator, there was a lady who was speaking in tongues, my sister says. But yeah, I heard her normal. My sister said that she heard tongues. I heard normal because she was just saying a blessing. My sister said that it was in tongues. It was just a weird ass day. I had like just the overall picture when you think about it. Yeah. And then boom, my sister and I were like, yo, there's something protecting us. Like we're like, that's when we started figuring out that we're in a dimension that something's happening. And she's like, look, mommy, daddy doesn't protect us, but look, this is like the universe saying it got our back. Like, just like, we got to believe. Like I said, the 3 of Diamonds always giving me the talk. Wow. Yeah. And boom, that happens. And then let's go fast forward now that we're settled, we're good. And now I'm 22. It had to be around there. I'm working for my stepfather in his law firm as a public assistant, something like that. I forgot. And office administrator. There you go. And he asked me to deposit the checks from that week. And as I'm going, coincidentally, for anybody who knows this, back in the days, there was this thing called organic gold. It's a coffee. So you needed $200 to invest and start investing, and yet I was still not really meeting budget those days to just give $200. And I'm thinking, I just need $200. I just need $200. I just need $200. Oh my God, I want $200. So I'm walking. And if anybody knows Journal Square, you guys know where I'm talking about, right here in Jersey City. I'm walking on Chase, and in Chase, there's a whole bunch of strip like this of ATMs. And as I'm thinking this, I start hearing beep, 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 beep. And I'm looking around. Now, here's the part about Journal Square. It's like almost Manhattan. There's somebody always passing through there, through here, through there. And as I'm looking around, just hearing this sound, everything's empty. It's like silence. It's like this weird, creepy vibe. And I'm walking towards the beep, 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 beep. And I see money on the cash register, like right there. I mean, in the ATM, like right there, just sticking out. What? So I'm like, and then I think, what if this is a what would you do situation? I'm on camera doing this. So I go into the bank and play it off. I deposit my dad's thing, and I'm like, oh, by the way, did anybody report any money missing? Because I found some money in the register, in the ATM. And the lady was like, no, nobody. I was like, oh, just in case, here's a 20. Here, and I give her a 20. And when I walk out, guess how much exactly is in my pocket? $200.
$200. Oh my gosh.
So that's already when I start really believing, like, okay, like, and my sister and I, for like a period of time in 2012, we were like filled this room. Like I said, remember we broke in, so we were not turning on lights. It was just candles. We were like in this dark room. Like it was some real like illegal shit. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like what immigrants feel like when you have to hide.
Yeah.
And we're getting these green candles, and we're putting $30,000, $30,000, $40,000, 30, 40, 30, 40. And months later, now this is like a late delight manifestation. We get that money, but then
you get the money that you wrote down on the paper.
The $30,000 to $40,000, yes. Wow, like in between, like I remember that I can't tell you.
Okay. Okay.
And then to see the receipt of the expense, and then we have to like pay it off. We're like, fuck, we got the money, but we did not manifest this right. But we're not using these words at the time. We did something wrong, because how did we get it and we lose it at the same time?
Yeah.
That's when where practice makes perfect. You start learning that when you're manifesting, you have to be very, very in detail. And that's when I took a course with the manifestor, and anybody who takes a course with her, you guys would not regret it. At that time was $100. I'm not sure how much is it now, but she taught me that 10% is consciousness, 90 is subconsciousness, or 90 is the one that manifests, is the genie in the bottle. And just like any genie, you have to be very, very careful how you wish. If you tell the genie, I want 1,000 hot dogs, the genie will give you 1,000 hot dogs right there and there. And even if you sell some set, still the rest will go and get rotten. So was this a wish fulfillment? No. You will have to say, genie, I want 1,000 hot dogs, one each day for the next 1,000 days, so I don't go hungry. That's what wish fulfillment made clear with intention. That's how you start learning. So then for the next decade, I've never worked for anyone else. I started living this life of abundance, of manifestation, extravagance life. One that I have no regrets over. Never hurt anyone, never stole, never sold any type of crack, cocaine, heroin, nothing to hurt the individual. Made a good business entrepreneurship in the cannabis business as well at a very young age. So it was very interesting to know how much faith, how it takes you, and how far it will take you. I never had to ever depend on my parents, and that's something that I saw a lot of my peers have struggled with, because they feel like they have to do exactly what their parents say. You got to go to school if you have no home. Well, kick me out and let me figure it out. But instead of having that energy and attitude, they'll actually go in the fear side of life. And fear is what holds our society down. Fear is what keeps manipulation. So let me tell you how hypothetically, how fear, legal disclaimers, hypothetical, how fear is so bonding to people. If you go on a plane and they're talking about, oh, you can't travel with X, Y, and Z stuff, and I'm traveling with X, Y, and Z stuff, and just because I have no fear in my face, no nothing in my energy, I'm just passing along with whatever I got with me. And I see this lady who has her legal prescribed medication, and she's like, all her suitcase is just getting turned off apart, bah, 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 hypothetically, by the way, tearing out apart. And I'm just like, why? And I realized when I was looking at her is that she was filled of fear, like for no reason. She was just shaky. Life just took a hold on her, and fear just took a grip on her, that anything to the trained eye would look suspicious. And that's when they'll be like, oh, let me see. Even if you're not doing anything, if fear runs you and you come across any militant, police or anything, just for the fact that they're seeing fear in you, they have the rights to do something, because there's a suspicion of. Don't carry that fear. And I tell this to all my peers, especially the Afro-Indigenous community. Don't carry fear with you. Carry like a ghost. You're not existent. Act like you're just here, but you don't run with any energies. So breathe with me when I tell people how you enter this field of, is like just slowly start breathing in slowly, like just feeling your breath. Come here, tap here, come down, slowly just enter. And as you coming across any being, you just continue to breathe like that. And they'll never sense you. You could pause back, like right, if they're looking for you. And this is a true story. I was 18. I had some girl that I was talking to, very crazy. She worked for the EMT, tried to hold my phone hostage, hold me hostage, and then had the nerve to call her friend, best friend, whose dad is part of the EMT, who's good association with the cops, right? And I'm banging on the door, like, give me my phone back. You know, I'm just 18. Those phones cost a lot. Like, give me my phone back. And then her friend comes through. I'm like, yo, just touch. So she throws the phone and just like slaps me and gets all like aggressive. Yet her friend's father already called the cops, mind you. But now when he sees that she's actually committing aggression, now he's like, you can see the worry in his face, because she's saying that I'm the one like banging crazy for my phone, but not explaining the whole situation that made them arrive. But and then they see the situation and they're like, okay, what's happening here?
Now you're the victim and not.
So and then I don't care. She gives me my phone and I see that the cops are entering the building, and we meet in the stairways like this, and they're like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, oh, ¿cómo está? ¿Qué pasó, oficial? Ah, sí, arriba. Yeah, sí, vaya, oficial. And I give him a tap in the shoulder. Go, do a good job. Go get there. Yeah, I see some struggle up there. And walk right through him. Like, right through them. Pat him in the shoulder and everything. I know he was pissed when he realized it was me, because he called me. Like, you was funny, motherfucker. But I just want to speak to you. Just come back around. Now, I'm in the basement. They thought I exited through the front, but I actually knew that they were going to be in the front. So I exited through the back and was observing them like make the call. And I'm watching like, nah, I'm sorry. I'm already on Route 21. Catch me if you can.
Smooth.
And I'm just watching them. They're just talking to them back inside the building. I just like ran to my car, like, and dipped, like, whoop. And I've had a few encounters with officers where I don't feed them my fear. And even I do have it, and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes that they have made me feel like something compressed my chest that may be fear at this point. But I'll compress it so much that depend on that breath and just continue. Like, yeah, officer, what's up? No, thank you.
That's a word, because me as a Gemini, that's third, that also represents the breath air, right? So that anxiety comes with threes, and you have 2 threes, and then you have a supporting 3. So for you to overcome anxiety and overcoming fear is a big deal. That's not something that's easy. And the way that you overcame it is through recognizing breath. Like, that's just beyond, that's universal.
So my
that's
3 in my
science.
life, she has anxieties. Her solar plex, first of all, and galactically, she is the yellow star, rhythmic star, and that is ran by the solar plex. So her goal here is to master her anxieties, right? That's one of her principles, to learn how to still stay in control in her reality. And she told me, and anybody who's with us right now can do it, just roll with me, right? And you can do it too, and you can put this to practice. And I tell people, use this count and further it. So we're going to do 3 different breaths, but the same one, just different ways. The first one is going to start with a count of 4. We breathe in 4, hold 4, release 4. And that release, we're going to hold 4 to then breathe again 4. Does that make sense?
So in 4, out
hold
4.
No, in, hold that invert in. It's like hold, release, and when you're done with that release, hold to breathe again. Okay, we're gonna do it for 4 seconds each. Okay. All right, we're gonna start now. Breathe in 4. Hold 4. Release 4. Hold that. Breathe in 4. Hold that. Release. Hold. Breathe. How you feel?
Relax. Yeah, I definitely felt a change. Yeah.
You even start feeling like a warmth coming through your body.
Exactly. It was definitely.
So now the second one that we're gonna do, that is just to learn. We're gonna do the 8 count. Okay. So we're gonna breathe in for 8, hold for 4, and then exhale for 8, and then hold for 4. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Breathe in 8. Hold. Release. Hold. Breathe. Hold. Release. Hold. Relax. Now, the deeper you start doing that, you start noticing tensions in your body. Depending on my day, sometimes I have a lot of tension build, the highest I can go is like 30 seconds in, like just breathe until I feel like all that is just calming me. Exhale for 16. What's half of, wait, no, I said, so, and then half of that time, exhale, and then breathe back in the same amount of time that I inhaled, and then hold for half that time, and then release. What that does is, as you're breathing in, you're seeing the airflow. Once you start recognizing clear path of nostril, that means your third eye is receiving a lot of good energy. The breath starts going through here, or starts channeling. If you start feeling like a compression here, that means you have to work on your, either if it's the right side, abandonment, sadness, if it's the left side, betrayal, or if it's all center, that is just dwelling on things that you have to let go. Dwelling on a lot, on both, on betrayal, all that. That's how you start recognizing. And when you start like harnessing, and then when you're breathing out, you're focusing on exhaling that pressure, you will even feel a snap because you're releasing. And same thing throughout your whole body. That's how you scan your body and scan where are you in the here and now. Are you anxiety and all that just means lack of practice of composing the solar plex. Solar plex is all that is the sun, is energy. The biggest magic that is seen, if anyone doesn't believe in magic, then tell them, look at the sun. Sun is pure power. It reaches every corner of the world without fail. Look at the fact that we as human beings are on a globe in the middle of nowhere, space, floating.
Yeah.
If that ain't magic, and power. I don't
You
know
can't, you
what.
can't explain it, right?
So
Yeah.
power is all around us. Power is very important. And through my 20s, right, this month, I mean, sorry, in December, this year I turned 30. So I still haven't reached my 30, but I'm in the culmination of my 20s. And throughout my whole 20s, one thing I realized that is the time that I went celibate around 2021 for 5 years, working on self, because I knew that the person for me, I would identify that being if I didn't have a lot of other energies running through me. Sexual energy is a true thing that people don't talk about, but especially for women. I'm a lesbian and had to say that this is intense. So for women who are actually getting penetrated, you are going bonkers because it's a cleanse. It's a lot of energy, and women are internal beings. Male are external. So this is why when a dude is like very horny for you, the minute he gets his whoop, he might be still like harassing you for a week, but then you be like, where this nigga went? It got washed off. He's no longer attached. Women, unfortunately, the minute you get penetrated and actually inseminated and it doesn't create a baby, all that is being created is that energy that was from that partner that you had. So if you start moving funny, walking funny, or talking funny, that's them talking. You have to do exorcism of the vagina.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because actually, I got a tarot reading the other day, and one of the things she back channeled me about was controlling my sexual energy. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a man, I'm a male, so I do have to say
Men
stuff.
do have it harder, and honestly, I'm
have
very
to
proud of those who from last year did a great job. And if you guys are here, I'm not sure. Keep on doing the great work. For those who even started, let's say, I'm not gonna say names, but I had somebody come last year doing the collective consciousness. Before during the pandemic, and start talking about them trying to tap in more to their divine masculine because they're overran by the divine feminine. And these are behaviors that male, even though he's not gay at all, it's just something that he, through observation of learning through Queen of Four, Supernova Sloan, and them, that the divine energies do exist. And it doesn't matter if you're female or male, you have to be ran by your primordial source. For example, me, it doesn't matter what's my sexual preference. What matters is that I am a female. And if I want to tap into my highest of power, I have to tap into my divinity of femininity. So I can manifest. For males, they have to tap in. Even if you're gay, you have to tap into your masculine divinity to manifest any type of creation, to be even of a creator of creative space like a divine feminine. So that's a whole mastery on its own. But when it comes to male, I always talk about the Kundalini rising. That has to do a lot with your semen retention. And people confuse semen retention with celibacy. I'd be like, where in the fine line does that say that? Semen retention means go ham and measure yourself. Let's say if you were a dude, if you're a teenager, I have a teenager in my house, and he's very asexual. He's very just like, very just more of a being learning to be human. And he's always asking questions. And I was like, you're a male. And he said it's an interesting statement. He's like, oh, I don't have needs, but I do it because my body. And I was like, that's when you're overcharged of power. And the lower vibrations wants you to expel your power so you could be vibrating lower. So males, so just like the womb, it brings life to the universe. The seed plants the life into the womb for the universe. So yours have the seed of life. Male have the seed of life. And if it's not you being used to create life, then you're harnessing that life for self. So even when you're with your divine counterpart, either male, female, whatever the choice is here in this realm, understanding that retention is essence to manifestation and power, and especially in a union is very divine and very powerful to utilize in the right way. If you never practice semen retention and you have a partner, so you have to start communicating this of why it's important for you. If your partner loves you as a female and it loves you truly, she has to save your life. Because every time y'all just coming to not make babies, y'all taking life force from you guys. This is why there's a lot of males in the project looking hella great. Tell me now, y'all. I don't see that great glow in our males these days, even on our females, but that's something else. That's that over. But right now we're talking male. If you're single or with a partner, start with seeing how long you last before ejaculating. If yesterday you lasted 15 minutes and then next week you last 30, be proud of yourself because you are learning how to retain. Once there you go for an hour, you're just there for an hour and it took you an hour, then you're learning to retain. Then there's people who start texting me, yo, Jayma, I went the whole night banging my brains. I'm like, okay, homie, congratulations. And they were like, oh, but it was like very intense. And then she kept on watering me and it was just kept on going. And I was like, that's part of the key, especially when you're in divine union, that watering is what you're looking for. And people think, and there too, or orgasms is something very great, but there's different types of orgasms that people don't understand. And when the woman, when you're not creating life, so when you're in a partnership, you're like, okay, baby, today we're going to create a baby. You're already understanding that that's what you're creating and that's going to be manifested. And in 9 months, the baby's coming. But let's say you guys say, we're not going to have a baby and you guys are in the same wave of agreement, but yet you guys want to manifest a new home or something small like a new car or something even smaller like $1,000. Like, let's not even go something small like a $10,000. I don't see that small compared to the grandiose scheme out there. And it'll happen. You guys set the intentions, stay focused, and when you're coming, like feeling that tip, have it in your mind's eye because your body doesn't recognize if you're really living the experience or not, but it recognizes that you just saw fucking hella money and it wants that money now. It needs to attract it because we're a magnet. And then if it's two beings and one becoming one and manifesting this, and by the blessing of the water of the divine, giving the blessings that this is about to happen because you guys put in the work and the intention, then that's your confirmation that this will happen. So,
wow. No, you just took me back to my first reading ever. And first she was talking about the 5 of spades or Osteen. Then she goes into me becoming a magician of some sorts or whatever. You know, we're talking about my past life and me continuing that to in this life and following thought as a guide for me. And she was just talking about, you know, things that I'll be getting into. That's my first reading, first introduction to spirituality. And she's talking about all this stuff. I'm like, okay, maybe in the future, I don't know where you're going with this. But I took that actually and started to kind of use it for myself. But I used it in the wrong ways, of course, and it wasn't based on semen retention. But I would do it sometimes as far as like putting something in my mind and my brain, but it wasn't practiced with another individual. You know, everything was just by myself because she said you can do it with someone else or by yourself. But me being opening up to consciousness, I was consciously aware of, okay, if I'm gonna manifest with someone else, it has to be marriage or someone I'm madly in love with and those things, right? It was only recently I tried to do, I wouldn't say recent, but previously I tried to do it with someone else. But no, everything that you're speaking about was kind of my first introduction into spirituality and the powers that one has and that I have, you know. And speaking from the man's perspective, I used to, just to be open and honest, have a problem with premature ejaculation because I used to abuse my powers as a kid, you know. So everything that you're speaking about is like life and truth, you know. And so recognizing the power that we have and using our sexual energy, because also in the Ace of Hearts time period, I have seen, like as I was saying earlier, the need for affection, also sexual satisfaction. Those things has to be controlled, or you have to gain knowledge or information about pleasing yourself because it's selfish, or it can be perceived as satisfaction and things that you desire, because we're talking about desires of your heart and the things that you want in life, you know, aspirations, dreams, manifestation, you know, between the Ace of Hearts and the Ace of Diamonds. These are all the things that the energy comes with, you know. I think looking at sexual energy, celebrities and people that have a lot of money, they are very sexually active, or there's a lot of sexual energy with them.
Because sexual power lies in sexuality. So the sacral chakra is the power of creation. And 3D society has transmuted that power into something nasty, into something shameful, into something to not do. And then they call it sexuality when it's not true. That's part of it. The reason it gets sexual is because that power is there. When you use that power, let's say if you're by yourself, right? And I don't know if this, as a female, this has happened, but I don't know. Males, you know, usually they say anything just gets that art, right? But imagine being excited about something and then you get hard on. It's not that you got a hard on because you felt anything sexual towards that excitement. You just felt your power just wanting to manifest something so badly that this overwhelming pleasure just overflowed your body.
Most definitely.
And people are programmed to feel shame for it. So, for example, I discovered this power by the age, a very young age. It was, I think it was like 6, 7. It was at the monkey bars, and I'm doing pull-ups, and then this overwhelming sensation just happened. It felt good, and next thing you know, I found like $10. And then every time I do that pull-up and come on, have that power strength, something wonderful will happen that day. I've mentioned this before on Clubhouse, so that's why I say it without no shame. Without knowing that that was power at the time, and I didn't associate, and that built so much power in my realm that in this realm, I was called Debo. I was called like very brolic kid because not only that, I was doing good things. I was very brolic. I was power. So this is why when I first talk to women and men who are single, and they're talking about, oh, like haven't had love in this yada yada time and this, it's not that what you're looking for. First, you need to find that self-discovery of magic. That's through masturbation for women and men. Men masturbating without no porn, same with women, no porn, no external. And I tell them masturbate to thinking about millions. Think about things, a jaguar, like a blue with the left, and just go ham. And if you're a male, your goal is to not ejaculate. There you go. No. So for men, it is the point about not ejaculating is because that shows how much power you have. Back in the days, I always go back to the ancient Kemetic times of our pharaohs. If you know that they have more feminine features, feminine like outdrawing, and that's the representation of the divine feminine. The divine feminine is the Kundalini's awakening for the divine masculine, and this is why in the pharaoh ancient times you see his divine feminine next to him, tapping him in the back, lower back, and that is that's a symbol of the initiation of Kundalini's rising.
Kundalini, yeah.
And yet, because the pharaoh had a divine feminine energies, yet did not make him less of a pharaoh and less of a ruler or less intimidating. Yet it made him more powerful, more intimidating to be around, because he had this both energies mastered within him, and that he did not confuse. A lot of us, and this is a journey, like I said, the reason, again, for me, this journey started very young as well, as because lesbian. There's in this 3D world, there was a lot done to me prior to my arrival. I know that they did a lot of studies on Hispanic women and Afro women, and this is why the 90s babies are hella gay. If you don't accept this by now, then keep on working on yourself. But that is the truth. They did something to us, but the natural self of us is who we feel we are. That is natural. I naturally feel who I am. And I embody who I feel like. Yeah, I respect my divine feminine. I utilize my divine feminine to manifest an abundant world. I don't use her to seduce or attract things that I do not want. And that's how bisexuality came about. Their confusion of power came to like understanding like, oh, this feels good, and then wanted to absorb a lot going on. And this is why there's so much chaotic energy when it comes to the bi community or like bi standards, right? Like, oh, you just want it all. Yes and no. The fact that there so much sexual energies is being poured out of them, they're actually losing more than they're winning or gaining. Sexual pleasure at the moment is just that, momentaneously, but yet the overlasting effects of them not harnessing their power fully is what's truly affecting them in their life. And that's the true karmatic event with the bis. Now for gays and for lesbians, the karmatic event is not accepting that for a reason you came into this body. Even if it was done through scientific fuckery, you still came as a mission here for something. So you have to learn how to use your power with that body and still embody the energy that really over dominates you. So when people see me, they don't see a female, even though after a while they start recognizing the divine feminine within me. But first and foremost, they have always respect my divine masculine. Yeah, I thank you guys for it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I am still not delusionally unaware of who I am. And this is why the battle also at a young age, and this society does this, makes people, let's take Nikita Dragon, for example. She is a gay transgender, and she's really trying to disrespect women. You cannot do that. It's like me trying to disrespect the origins, disrespect the male. There are origins. And let's not use the word natural, because I am natural. Naturally, my essence is what it is. Something was done that was unnatural, but naturally I am who I am. Now we're talking about origins. The origin of male and female, if you are originally it, then you are the originals. If I transform and get my, mutilate myself, and it is mutilation, you have to understand this. I'm not attacking anybody. This is an understanding of level at a young age that I had to understand to keep on ascending within my power. By mutilating myself at one point in time would have been me not accepting my divine feminine. And that creates chaos within the realm of self. Same thing when a male is mutilating themselves. When you mutilate that part of yourself, you have to understand that you just gave away a part of yourself and power. That's fine if you understand the consequences to the action and how to overcompensate for the lack of. But the way they are overcompensating is that they demand the same respect that women are getting, or transgender females get from the males. Like if I transform to a male and get the beard, I want the same respect. I'm sorry. If a real woman comes my way and wants to have a baby, I'm missing something. That's just the truth.
Right.
If a real man, he could really fall in love with the exterior. His real biology will really gravitate to wanting a woman that he one day can procreate with. So stop asking for something unnatural to happen. Except that if there's a gay guy, go more towards the gay guy instead of looking for the straight guy. If you're a gay girl, go more to the gay girls and not more towards the bi, and not to disrespect, but they're gonna create a level of conflict in your life that you don't deserve. If you're bi and go with another bi, go ahead, go run this roll the muck as much as you want. It's understanding the balance of what is happening.
Yeah, and it's being self-aware.
It is. Self-awareness is definitely something that has to be spoken on more, especially for our generation towards the next generation. Self-awareness comes with self-accountability, self-respect, self-love. All these things first has to be done before even getting self-awareness, because if you don't have the self-love, how can you be aware when somebody's treating you wrong if you don't love yourself enough? You know? Right. And all this, unfortunately, due to dogmatic programming, is something that people have to be trained to relearn. And it's not a bad thing. It's just you do have to understand that that's not natural either, because our ancestors never had to be taught to raise children or be a part of a clique or a tribe and be in harmony with one another. The fact that we had to learn it ourselves to portray it out in the world was a big worldwide event that was disbalanced for sure.
Oh, and that's one thing usually I say, I gotta watch myself, is that we come into this world unaware. Yeah. But in a sense, we're not unaware, we're just getting educated, and some things we're getting re-educated on, you know, and it's all based on the village that is raising you, you know, that's bringing a certain amount of awareness to your spiritual being, you know. So yeah.
So when it comes to awareness, people, and I do this because I've observed all my nieces and nephews, and plus I've never been in denial about who, how and what I've thought of at any age. So I could always backtrack at least to my first conscious thought, and it was the recognition of my sister being born. From there, my next conscious awakening was around 4 years old, when I was in the kitchen with my brother and I got hurt, and that from there, the consciousness really became a thing in my realm. And from having that, I learned that what really happens to children is parents really excuse all the behaviors that they start forgetting the natural self that they came with. It's not that they have to learn it. The reason is that they already came with it. They lost it because it was allowed to give so many excuses. And a lot of parents do this mistake. Oh, the baby. And it's like a 10-year-old. Or he's just a kid. That kid, that baby would be a toddler. That toddler would be a child. And that child will be a teenager. Then that child will be a young adult who will be a full adult one day. If you keep on skipping stages or missing stages, we are creating a social imbalance here as well. You cannot keep on calling a 10-year-old a baby because psychologically he's going to really feel like he's a baby. You cannot do that to a kid. We have seen it when we see these 8-year-olds have these damn tantrums like they're 2-year-olds. You can accept it from a 2-year-old, but you still teach the 2-year-old why a tantrum is not good. For example, my sister told me on a flight to Jamaica that there was a child who was throwing a tantrum and like kicking her seat, and she said something, and the dad was like, "Oh, he's just a kid," and she looked at him, exactly, he's just a kid, he's not a baby, and this is not acceptable. To the point that the child stopped because he recognized that she was not taking it. But the father was excusing it, that behavior, that if he keeps on doing that, he's really causing the child more harm than good. You do not, once the child is not a baby no more, you don't keep on babying the child. And then once the child is not a kid no more, you have to start. And this is why in our ancient cultural time, they had rites of passages for male and women. By the time males turned 13, you had the rite of passage, your first rite of passage. Okay, and then to get to that rite of passage, you still have to learn what it is to be a young adult or young 13-year-old to even earn the rite of passage. But now, in days, everybody has the right to do everything. And unfortunately, no. This is why our world is chaotic.
But no, that's why we got you here, and spirits and souls like you, because you have this information. You came back to give it to us, right? So, and the amount of leadership and like you said, responsibility that you've taken in instilling values into people, and I don't want this to go too long because sometimes some things we miss and go over our head. So I want to definitely follow up and get into more of the now of everything and of your setup and everything that's taking place, but. This was awesome. I thank you so much for your time and your spirit and your wisdom because, wow, like you just blew my mind. So if you all just now came in, we went over so much from the sense of manifestation, poverty, five of hearts, homelessness, and manifesting your way out of those situations and just the sense of self-awareness, everything that Ace of Hearts goes through in life, and getting that because you are due money, material values, and luxury based on values, and you got to have a pure soul and spirit, I think, to really manifest things outside of yourself because it's not just for you, it's for the people around you, So thank you for your spirit, and if you all do make sure you all go back and watch this if you're just now coming in. But just give them insight till we connect another time. Just let them know the name of your business again, who you are, and where they can find you at.
Thank you. My name is Jamar. You can catch me on IG as jamar.martian. As well, I'm the founder of Collective Consciousness, N3SS. You can find it on Instagram as well. And for those in a healthy and trying to go into a whole nother level of being, we do offer, like I said earlier, a 21-day free journey. It's on Instagram. It's health2wealth.rawreality. You can find it all on Instagram. And as well, for those who are looking for CMOS, we are CMOS suppliers as well in partnership with health2wealth.cmos. Due to the challenge, that's how it was called. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. And make sure you all donate. I sent a donation. I don't know, it was way back when. But make sure you all give this energy so it can continue to grow.
Well, we will appreciate that. Due to the work with Saisha and bringing Ra home, it became bring all our babies home. Some parents are going through needs. And one thing that we did discover through all this is how much Black women die on giving birth. So this is why the collective is doing the collective funds to do the doula initiative programs, where we want to create doulas in all 50 states and have holistic centers to cater to Black pregnancies and Indigenous pregnancies. So,
and make sure you all also go donate and support Josephine Speaks. She's a Three Diamonds, and she was actually one of the people that initiated for doulas to become certified and taken care of through I believe your insurance and healthcare providers as well. So that
actually,
is
is she a
something.
doula? I would like to contact her where she is, because what we do is contact doulas who can train other doulas, pre-doulas or post-doulas, and we get into programship with them, and that's how, like I said, we collect the funds, we pay them, and we get people to take their program for free.
Yeah, Josephine Speaks. I've seen her profile if you can't find her. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, she'll be a huge asset. She's a Three Diamonds as well. So pretty sure y'all gonna, do some great things
Hey,
together.
Three of
So
Diamonds, I have a lot of faith in them. Like I said, the number one was my sister, and she's in her own realm, a boss, entrepreneur. She even found herself a great divine masculine figure. So if anybody ever sees my sister around being Brianna, just know that she is a wonderful soul and she has a lot to offer.
Oh, thank you so much. So we definitely have to set up a second talk, talk a little bit more, get into it. And I may throw some breakdowns because you just broke yourself down as far as the cards in so many different aspects. So I appreciate you, and hopefully that you all learn what the Ace of Hearts is and what it's about. So once you have this time period or throughout your yearly, these things may come into to your life and make you really become self-aware and recognize a lot of G field. So appreciate you all, and I'll see you all next time. And peace and love.
Peace. Thank you for having me. Have a good day, y'all.